Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail, for joining us.
Good morning, Jose. Thank you for
Good
having me
morning.
here.
Now, as practitioner in the real estate sector, how would you assess the impact of COVID-19 on the real estate?
Thank you. In Nigeria, the impact is not directly obvious. We wouldn't feel it immediately, unlike other parts of the world. Why do I say this? If you look at the interaction with real estate in Nigeria and compare it to the other parts of, the developed parts of the world, basically, if we look at the UK, US, even some parts of Africa, we find
perhaps where mortgages work.
Where mortgages work, where your involvement is a percentage of the amount of money you're going to do. The first structural thing you even look at in terms of tenancy is in Nigeria, we pay 1 year in advance, 2 years in advance. So you don't have a quarter-by-quarter situation that they are filling out there. So right now, what happened is that from the period of the lockdown, you don't get to feel anything. But by third and fourth quarter, you can maybe probably start seeing how this has affected the real estate sector in Nigeria. You've mentioned about job losses, job cuts, disposable income. Now, these things will start trickling into the economy.
So people won't be able to pay their rent, people won't be able, and those that would want to buy a house or something.
Even buy a house, to put deposits down, all rethinkings will be done, effectively. We're still not sure where the monetary issues are going to go to be able to see if lending will continue in whatever sense to this particular sector. So we are yet to see some of these things going on. And even the inventory, meaning that the developers have put buildings out there. Who's going to take it? Who's going to rent some of this space? Our space is going to be still in demand in the same manner it was prior. We have wait periods of leasing and selling. 6 months. This was before COVID. We're waiting 6 months to get someone to come and take a decision. Now we're thinking, is it going to be 12 months? Is it going to be longer than this? So the immediate impact will soon start revealing itself. Unlike the global sector, where you see companies saying, our quarter rent has not been, it's 84%, it's 90%, it's 20%. Next quarter, we want to see whether it's improving or decreasing. And people are asking for moratoriums in payments of rent globally, as we've heard. So those are the sort of things
are they going to apply that to perhaps here in Nigeria?
Well, because
if you have to pay your rent and you tell your landlord, oh, you have to give me a moratorium.
Because of our structure that we pay yearly in advance or 2 years in advance, effectively, it's only those whose rents are coming due in this particular quarter and next quarter may be having those discussions, because businesses may have been affected, and also human resource, staff also may have been affected. So those decisions will be taken.
Now, there are other people who must have actually taken mortgage, to get their houses, perhaps to build or to, buy a house. Are they likely to also get a moratorium?
Yeah. Let's get something clear. The mortgage debt in Nigeria is not anywhere so fantastic to affect a lot of things. But for those who have mortgages and who probably are in the risk area of losing their jobs, definitely they will have discussions with their lenders as to what to do if that happens. And I think that those mortgage lenders have to actually listen to this plea when it does come. They would have to think about it and what do they do in terms of, because the COVID situation is a force majeure. Nobody expected it, nobody thought about it. And people are being forced to make decisions that they did not plan to make.
Now, during this period, there was a lot of conversation around palliatives, and incentives for various sectors, agriculture, healthcare, and nothing was mentioned in the real sector. Is it because perhaps you're looking at the fact that, okay, the effect is not being felt for now or something?
No. Interestingly, you see, real estate has been taken for granted by everybody. So you can forget it because you live in the house, but you just take it for granted that the house is always going to be there. The warehouses for storage, for manufacturing, the buildings for offices. Even the isolation center is a building, so to speak. But you forget the role it plays. So government effectively doesn't realize that. What do we do for this sector? All the inputs to put the buildings in place require materials. So when government is thinking about sorting out different sectors, they need to look at areas of where your building materials is coming from to the developers. The interest that have been given to certain developers and certain contractors who are going into these areas, what do we do effectively? Because they will be affected. They will not be able to deliver on those promises if they get affected with any of those variables that have been affected because of this shutdown, lockdown, and the effect of having a situation where nobody can interact anymore. So I think government should look at, and if you look at the stakeholder situation in real estate value chain, from acquisition to design, construction, to all the areas that are connected, there must be a way, government, from taxes to concession to levy, suspension, to everything, government needs to look at it, not directly giving money into somebody's hands, but the cost that, the things that add onto cost must be looked at. And those are the areas I think they must
Well, I'm sure you're following the inflation trajectory. We saw the
Yes.
April inflation, 12.34%. And of course, obviously, a lot of people believe that inflation will continue to climb. How do you see that impacting the real sector, the real estate sector?
Well, that has a direct impact. I've just mentioned about building materials. If the cost, if inflationary pressures goes into the building material inputs side, of course, end product is cost of housing. It's going to go up. The landlord also is directly affected. He's going to increase his rent because he too has to go straight to the market area and purchase goods. He would transfer it to his rent. So rentals might go up. So all of those things are all interrelated. Once inflation index starts going up, and the way we even do rent reviews is based on CPIs, and all of those, the retail price index, inflationary index, all of those things are looked at. So once that starts going up, it's going to pull up all those other areas like rent and...
All right, we just have to be forward-looking. COVID-19, of course, has come and it will go. So what is the outlook for the sector in the short, to medium term? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, I'm always an optimist with real estate. I strongly believe real estate will always overcome every pressure thrown at it. If you remember 2008, where the crisis in the global world, it was real estate driven, but it turned around in 3 to 4 years, and now it is now the wealth, the store of wealth for most people. So just like that, COVID it's a temporary situation. It's a health crisis, but because of what I've now termed, and which I borrowed the word coronomics, which effectively means that because of coronavirus, we're going to have economic impact. In the short term, asset values may drop. So for any investor, this is the time probably to go in when the prices are dipping in, because when it comes out, it's going to come out rapidly and effectively return the value that it may have lost in that time. So nobody should panic. Nobody should run away and think, oh, things are going crazy, we cannot make a decision. But stay focused, invest in your real estate continuously as you plan to do it, and all will be well.
And what if it's a new entrant into this investment?
Oh, go into the deep end. What I'll say is don't hold cash. Keep enough cash that can take you day by day, but invest in an asset that will give you value tomorrow.
Now, I'm sure you have, an association. So how do you come together to actually drive the government to actually support this sector and, of course, encourage perhaps new people that would want to invest into this sector?
Well, yes, of course, through the LCCI, which is one of the associations that are strong in advocacy. The various stakeholder forums, stakeholder discussions that also always identify the areas where government should intervene. And we all know in terms of real estate in Nigeria where those issues are. One of the major issues are in terms of regulatory issues. So it is impacts on first timer coming in to buy a property, even someone like me, you, and every other person. We'll have to make sure that where we're going to invest is secure. All right? So those are the areas, regulatory and statutory, because on title, that's one. Finance, access to mortgage, access to real estate loans, areas whereby the government should assist to make sure that we have these funds available at the same time. Interest rates, now, interest rates is not a government issue. It's a dynamic of supply and demand of available funds. So deepening the sector and making it more structured to effectively protect the funds of those who are providing such long-term and short-term funds. Those are the areas we keep speaking to government to make sure that an enabling environment is created.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ishmael, for your time. Minga Ishmael is a real estate practitioner and the Vice President, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry.